Welcome to Police Beat. I'm Detective Jim Coffman, standing in front of the animal shelter on East Bayshore. On today's show, we'll have an expanded section on the animals up for adoption down here. We'll also meet Fran Law, an animal control officer. And finally, a special message from the police chief, Pat Dwyer, about the recent officer-involved shooting. Stay with us.
Hello, I'm Pat Dwyer, the Chief of Police for the City of Palo Alto. Unfortunately, on March 20th of this year, a tragic officer-involved shooting occurred adjacent to the City of Palo Alto. I've had a number of questions posed to me over the last month about that shooting and about the police department's response to that shooting, and I'd like to try to answer some of those questions for the members of our community now. Number one, people have asked me, why is the Palo Alto Police Department not in charge of the investigation? And the answer is that the shooting actually occurred in Sheriff's Office jurisdiction on Stanford land. Many people think that Stanford is located within the city corporate boundaries of the City of Palo Alto, and it is not. It's county land, and as such, the legal authority is Sheriff Lori Smith and her department. Now, her department has conducted and is conducting an exhaustive, very meticulous investigation of this event. They've collected a lot of evidence, done numerous interviews, and at the conclusion of the investigation, which I'm told will be around the end of April, that investigation will be presented to the District Attorney's Office by the Sheriff's Office, and then will be presented by the District Attorney's Office to the grand jury. So from a legal standpoint, that's why the Sheriff's Office is conducting the investigation and why the Palo Alto Police Department has cooperated but is not the primary jurisdiction. Secondly, people have asked me to explain the difference between the administrative investigation and the criminal investigation conducted by the Sheriff's Office. The City of Palo Alto and every police department that has officers involved in an officer-involved shooting does a second investigation to evaluate the officer's actions in terms of compliance with policies and procedures and training that they've received by the police department. We have conducted and are continuing to conduct an exhaustive administrative investigation of the actions of our officer to ensure that those actions were consistent with the policies, procedures, and training that the officer was provided. We anticipate that that investigation and the results of the investigation will be announced immediately after the case has been presented to the grand jury. The third thing that I'd like to mention is why the delays have occurred in the case. There haven't actually been delays in the case. The case has been under active investigation for the last month, and at this time the final interviews are being conducted, and the primary agency, that is the Sheriff's Office, is waiting to incorporate all the coroner's reports, lab reports, toxicology reports, and things of that nature into the case. I hope that clarifies some of the questions that many of you have. If you do have any more questions or if you'd like to comment to me about this event, please feel free to contact me in my office at 329-2555. Thank you.
Welcome to Pet Connection. We're here at the Palo Alto Animal Services Center, not the dog pound, with Animal Control Officer Fran Law. Fran, you've been here for a couple of years.
A few years, 17 in February.
And we don't call it the dog pound anymore.
No, we call it the animal shelter, where we shelter the animals.
And we shelter more than just dogs, too, right?
Yes, cats, rabbits, goats, pigs, iguanas, snakes.
Iguanas, that's kind of unusual for Palo Alto, isn't it?
It used to be about 10 years ago, and now the past 5 years we've seen a lot more recently.
You're standing in front of what you call the Winnebago. This is a brand new animal control van, and it looks like it's got all the comforts of home for a stray dog. It
does, and the dogs seem to like it a lot. They jump up in it, and the big kennel appears to be like a crate for them or a nesting area, and they jump in there very willingly. I no longer have to lift them up into the truck.
Well, do you have to ever chase them down to get them in here?
I try hard not to chase them down.
Who's faster, you or the dogs?
The dogs.
Over the years, you've probably seen some changes. 17 years is a long time to work in any business. 7 years ago, your service area tripled.
Yes, it did. About 7 years ago, we took on Mountain View, Los Altos Hills. We respond to calls out there. We don't do patrolling, but if a citizen needs help with a dog or a cat or wildlife, we respond.
And this is in addition to your patrol duties here in Palo Alto.
That's right.
You spend most of your time in Palo Alto?
It's 50-50. Mountain View and Palo Alto, and then Los Altos would be the way the percentage goes.
Right, and so if there's a stray animal in Los Altos Hills, a resident there would expect to see a Palo Alto animal control van.
That's correct, but in the other cities other than Palo Alto, the stray dogs need to be confined.
If someone has a problem with an animal, who should they call?
First, their police department, unless it's Palo Alto, and then us. The police department usually starts the investigation, and then we follow up.
Now, what are some of your favorite moments here at the shelter?
Seeing a dog that's been here for several months go to a wonderful home.
And that happens quite frequently?
Yeah, it does. Lately, it has. I think we've been doing a really good job in getting the dogs adoptable. Actually, behind you, we have one of our volunteers brushing a dog, grooming a dog, getting him ready for adoption.
So I could volunteer down here and play with the animals all day?
That's right. Well, a couple hours.
And I suppose the animals love that.
Yes, they do. These dogs are walked probably more than the regular dogs in a home.
Well, I'm not sure if that applies to my dog, who is the king of our house.
Aren't they all?
They sure are. Have you seen an increase in the number of unwanted litters of dogs, cats, maybe feral wild animals?
The The unwanted litters of cats have stayed about the same, though folks are trying desperately to spay and neuter. The puppies sprinkled throughout the year, maybe 3 or 4 litters a year, but not like we were seeing years ago. Feral cat colonies, yes, there are, but like I said, folks are trying desperately to spay and neuter them.
And we could do that right here at the shelter, at the Spay and Neuter Clinic.
That's right, and we have coupons where it can be done free, actually.
Free coupons? Where do you get those?
You'd have to call the shelter, and they'd set you up with someone who can get you the coupon.
And what's that number?
496-5971.
For a free spay or neuter coupon. Fran, what's the most exciting thing you've done here over those 17 years?
Oh, boy. Well, getting the chows out of the creek, that was pretty exciting. That was really fun to get all of the police department together on that and work together.
That was about a year ago, and I can remember getting my boots dirty as I was running through the creek with you and some of your colleagues chasing down these 2 wild dogs. It turns out that they were somewhat dangerous.
Well, their chows aren't the most warm and fuzzy. They just as soon leave, and then push comes to shove, then they'll turn on you. But they just as soon be left alone. We did, I think 2 were euthanized and 1 was placed at a rescue in Texas.
This is a shelter of last resort. This is not a no-kill shelter.
That's right. We do perform euthanasia here, unfortunately. We go through a temperament testing, which tries to help us place the dogs in the appropriate home. Sometimes through the temperament testing, we're able to determine that the dog may be aggressive, and we can't rehab that dog. We don't have the energy, the time, the space, the volunteers to be able to do that. So, and also the health of an animal also indicates if it needs to be put to sleep.
That would be, for me anyway, the worst part of this job.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
We try our hardest, though, to get these animals, be it a dog, be it a cat, be it a rabbit. We try to get them a good home.
That's right. I mean, if it's not a good home, they just soon stay here, and we'll do the best we can with giving them the love and the attention that they need and deserve.
So when people see this Winnebago driving up and down the street, if they wave, they'll be waving to Animal Control Officer Fran Law.
Now available for adoption at the Palo Alto Animal Shelter. Just one look and who can resist these adorable kittens? We've got plenty of these cuddly and playful furballs waiting for a loving family. If you're looking for a mature cat, this 8-year-old spayed female tabby may be just what the doctor ordered. Or how about Tommy, an 8-year-old neutered male cat who likes the easy life and wants to share it with you. Dottie and Chocolate are charming 4-year-old male guinea pigs that enjoy being held and petted. Oreo is a 5-month-old neutered male rabbit that would be an excellent choice with people of all ages. And Phantom, another 5-month-old male rabbit, has a playful side and loves being the center of attention. For you dog lovers out there, meet Sydney, a purebred Australian cattle dog. Obedient and full of energy, Sydney would make a great addition to the family. Utah is a 4.5-year-old spayed female cattle dog pointer mix. She's obedient, housebroken, and good with the little humans or another dog. Buck, a 3-year-old neutered male Labrador Akita mix, is calm and quiet and will do just fine with a quiet adult home. Say hello to Phoebe, a spayed female 2.5-year-old Labrador Pit Bull mix. Phoebe is ready to hit the books and get back to obedience school and get her PhD. And look at little Samson, a 1-year-old male Chihuahua mix. Samson is the shy, quiet type, and he likes his humans to be that way too. And last but not least, here's Tippy and Blackie, 2 Cocker Spaniel mixed pooches that are truly inseparable. Tippy is a 7-year-old neutered male, and Blackie is a 5-year-old spayed female. Since they've been together so long, we'd like to adopt them out as a pair. All these animals and many more can be found at the Palo Alto Animal Shelter, 3281 East Bayshore Road in Palo Alto. Our hours are 11 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Or give us a call at 650-496-5971.
Hi, I'm Officer Heather Akins of the Palo Alto Police Department, currently assigned to hiring and training. If you've ever thought about a career with the Palo Alto Police Department and law enforcement, now's the time to apply. With so many agencies, you may wonder, why Palo Alto? We offer a great 4-11 work schedule, which means you work 4 11-hour days and have 4 days off every week. We offer competitive salaries, excellent benefits, and have a variety of specialty positions to offer. But mostly, we have a unique group of people who are amazing to work with and learn from. If you think you have what it takes to be a Palo Alto police officer, call today for an application. Our number is 329-2601, or visit us on the web at www.papd.org.
Hello and welcome to City Beat, inside Palo Alto. I'm P.A. Moore. In today's program we'll be talking about sustainability. We'll meet some people from Family Resources. I'll show you the improvements at the duck pond, and we'll learn about our new parking garages. Stay with us. 85% of Palo Alto households have electronics equipment, but what happens when that stuff is old and doesn't work anymore? Here we are for the electronics recycling at the Palo Alto landfill, where products will be demanufactured and reused in other new forms.
This is our second annual recycling, electronics recycling drop-off event. We had one last year at the Earth Fest, and we collected 34 tons of electronics in a 4-hour period. So we really decided that this was definitely a service that the residents could use again this year. So this is how we're celebrating Earth Day this year as well.
Well, that sounds absolutely fabulous, but you've added something new with the cathode ray tubes. What's that all about?
Correct. The state, the EPA decided that the cathode ray tubes, like televisions and computer monitors, actually don't pass their hazardous waste requirements, so it has been determined hazardous. So we have been collecting them at the landfill since July, and we've collected about 500 so far.
And what does it look like for the future for this program?
At this point, it looks like we're going to continue collecting the CRTs, but the other electronics is just this one-time drop-off. But we are issuing out to all the residents that have dropped off materials some reuse and recycling options for them throughout the year. And they can always call the recycling program for more.
And tell me, where is all this stuff going to go, these 34 tons plus?
Well, we've contracted with HMR Incorporated. It's a group, they're actually an Australian-based company, and they have a really wonderful environmental record for recycling. And so all of the material that we collect here is going to be demanufactured, which is taken apart in Sacramento, California. And the actual CRT, which is the leaded glass in the monitors or the televisions will be crushed on site in a special machine that collects all the dust so it's not being released. And that is shipped to Missouri, Annapolis, Missouri, and smelted for the lead. The other components will be sold off to other businesses in California and for the most part taken care of within this country and not shipped overseas, to the best of our ability to make sure that doesn't happen.
So when you were growing up, did you think of yourself as being the electronics recycling queen?
No, I didn't. Actually, never crossed my mind.
Well, it's convenient to drop off some used electronic parts that I can't get rid of otherwise.
And why do you participate in this program?
I don't think it's worthwhile. The landfill problem is very limited anymore. Just to dump it, I couldn't feel comfortable doing that. I don't know what's in those things that could harm the environment anyhow. And this way, maybe somebody can find some use out of it that I don't know about.
For more information about recycling for the city of Palo Alto, check out the city's website under the keyword recycle. The Way to Go program is designed to help residents encounter different ways of transportation. Here's Amanda Jones to tell us more about the program. Welcome, Amanda, in that bright shirt.
Thanks, PA. Hi.
Tell us about the Way to Go program. What's alternative transportation and why should I care?
Well, it is one of the City Council's top 5 priorities to work on encouraging alternative transportation in Palo Alto, and that would include public transit use, bicycling, walking, carpooling, van pooling, things like that.
Well, what brought this all about? Was there some impetus, some startling event that made us realize that alternative transportation was the way to go?
Well, one of the things is that we have an increasing amount of traffic congestion in the community in our downtown business districts as well as on our arterials and especially around schools. And this is to let people know what their options are to just, hopping in the car like we're trained to do and go out to do our errands or commuting.
Is this a big program? Do I have to give up my car forever? What are some baby steps that I could take?
Well, really what you want to do is take a look at, your travel behavior right now. I would bet that some of your trips can be substituted with bicycling, walking, or transit trips right off the bat. Say you were to commute with an alternative mode of transportation just one day a week, you would be reducing your single occupant trips by 20%.
20% is a pretty big number, and even if a number of people did that, that would make a difference in all sorts of other things like air pollution. Is that right?
That's true. I mean, if you look at what comes out of your car, even if you have a newer vehicle, just the air pollution, the wear and tear on your car, stress of sitting in traffic, and really if you look at the alternative, if you're walking or biking or even walking to and from transit, you're getting a little exercise and reducing the number of cars out on the road.
Sounds like we could have a healthy community as well as a healthful community.
That's the goal.
And tell us then, what would a resident do to get more information about the Way to Go program?
It's easy to get information on the Way to Go program. Right now, if you go to the main website page for the City of Palo Alto, there's a little green Way to Go logo. Just click on that. It'll take you into our Way to Go website. We're still developing it, and we'd love to get feedback from residents and employers. There's transit maps, all of the different transit lines that come in from both counties, as well as the shuttle programs, some information on bicycling, and how you can get more involved.
Let's say I'm an employer with a couple of dozen employees. What benefit to me is it as an employer? Is there some program that would help me?
There's a number of different programs, and those folks can contact me directly, and I can go out and work with them at their site, because each work site really has a unique set of challenges, and there's lots of different programs in terms of encouraging alternative commutes, as well as some tax benefits for employers as well.
I'm sure that certainly will ring a bell with a lot of people. But now, it seems to me that alternative transportation fits into this larger concept of sustainability. What do you think about that?
I would agree completely, and we are pretty linked and involved with the sustainability group. And when we do public outreach, a lot of times it goes hand in hand with the folks from the water quality treatment plant, recycling, et cetera, green buildings. It's just another way to take a look at the long-term health for the planet, really.
So remind me again, those alternative modes are?
Well, bicycling is one. Walking, everybody does that. Even if they're driving, they get out of their car to walk somewhere. And we are actually very well served by public transit in this community. And if folks need help, I can help them figure out which would be the right way for them to go.
Well, thanks, Amanda. It's been great having you visit with us.
Thanks, PA.
So, ladies and gentlemen, by all means, check out the city's website, click on the Way to Go logo, and learn about some alternate modes of transportation to be healthy and have a healthful community. Here we are in the lobby of City Hall at an exhibit on sustainability. What is sustainability and why should we care? Emily Harrison, Assistant City Manager, and Jim Birch, Council Member for the City of Palo Alto, will enlighten us on this important subject.
The easiest definition to understand of sustainability comes from an oath that was taken by the citizens of Athens in ancient Greece, which is to leave this city not less, but greater and more beautiful than it was left to us. The 3 E's of sustainability are the environment, which is the one that's most commonly used to talk about sustainability, but also economics and social equity. Those are all parts of sustainability. This exhibit, which was put together by Councilmember Birch, shows many of the city's programs related to sustainability, the traditional waste reduction programs, but also transportation and energy and water management. In addition, not up on the board, but other city programs that address sustainability include our community policing program and many of the things that we're doing to reach out to our residents in terms of better communication through electronic media.
Well, you know, you hear early on that there's no free lunch. And then somebody says to you at some point in your life, it's an interdependent, interrelated world, and you begin to see that what you do does make a difference and that what goes around comes around. We inherited a beautiful city here based on what people did many years ago, and we want to be sure that we leave it, as Emily said, greater and better and more beautiful than it was left to us. And sustainability helps us to do that. What can we do? The Native Americans have a phrase, 7 generations into the future. And you think about all the actions you take and what will be the effect 7 generations into the future. So that's, I think, what determines the framework, the lens through which we look at everything the city does, is what will be the effect far into the future? And will it be what we want for our children and our children's children? Well, one thing that residents can do to help in this sustainable effort is alternate transportation. It's a known fact that 85% of the cars on Palo Alto streets only have 1 driver in them. That's a huge demand on our highways and streets. So if they carpooled, if they took the shuttle 1 day a week, if they used alternative transportation, if they worked at home, any of those would make a significant difference in our streets. Palo Altans were the very first in the nation to use recycling, so I know that the people here are very into doing things that help the environment, help the economy, and have an effect on our well-being of our whole city. So I hope that sustainability will be that lens that we look at everything. How will it work into the future? If everybody did what I do, would the problem be solved? That's always a question we can ask. If everybody did what I do, would the problem be solved?
Residents are invited to take a look at the exhibit on sustainability located in the entrance to City Hall, or they may visit the city's website and look for the link on sustainability. Here we are at the Duck Pond to talk with Darren Anderson about the recent improvements happening here at the parking lot. Darren, tell us what's been going on out here.
Hi, we're really excited about some of the improvements. We recently had both parking lots refinished and surfaced, striped, and we've had nothing but real positive feedback from the public. We used to have these deep ruts that would form puddles and it'd be a real mess, and there was no striping, so cars would be parked everywhere. And with this new improvements, it's just made everything a lot better.
I understand, too, there's something going on called a bioswale. I've never heard that before. Tell me about it.
Yes, we're really pleased about the bioswales. It's like the latest and greatest environmentally friendly parking lots. Essentially, it's a sandy area where we've planted a bunch of native salt marsh plants. And the idea is the rainwater will wash off the road oils off the parking lot and will get filtered through there before it flows into the duck pond or into the bay and be a really environmentally friendly idea.
Well, that sounds great. I understand, too, that you had a lot of volunteers come out and help you on this project.
We did. We've had our local Kiwanis Club come out, and they planted about 9 trees out on the area behind the duck pond here, and it really adds to the area, makes it more aesthetically pleasing and friendly place to be.
That sounds really great. Now, tell me, the duck pond is a really popular, fun place for families. Tell me about the number of visitors you get here.
Oh, it's incredible. This is probably our most heavily visited site in all of open space. Sometimes as many as 500, 600 in a day on really busy days. Just in and out all day long. It's great.
And Darren, what's your job here then as the ranger?
It's really multifaceted. A lot of the end-up goal is trying to make it a friendly experience for everyone, and we do that by protecting the resources, keeping it clean, and helping whenever we can.
And tell me about some of the bird life out here.
Oh, this is one of the best birding spots in America. Right along these salt marshes, we have over 132 different species that come and visit us year-round. The duck pond's kind of special because it allows kind of a special reprieve from migratory ducks to come and rest. We're really proud to have it.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Thanks so much for visiting with us.
Thank you very much.
I'm with Glenn Roberts, Director of Public Works, and he's going to tell us something about the new parking structures that are going to go in downtown. Glenn, tell us some of the background. Why do we really need these parking structures?
Thanks, PA. Well, there's really about 10 years worth of background and history on this project. It starts from the revitalization and growth in the downtown, the restaurants, the shops, and the revitalizations taking place during that period of time. Studies have shown that there's a demand for about 1,500 spaces that isn't currently being met. And so we've had merchants and residents both clamor for this increased parking capacity, and the council's approved the project.
So that's great. So where are we now with it then?
Well, the council awarded the construction project on April 15th. Construction is scheduled to start in the middle of May. It'll last about 18 months, so we expect to be done in November of 2003.
Well, that sounds like a pretty aggressive timeline, but in the meantime, that's 18 months that people are basically without parking, so I'm sure you've set up some alternatives.
Yes, the construction will displace about 200 spaces from the current surface lots. And to make up for that, we're doing two things. First, we're restriping a number of the downtown streets, trying to gain back additional diagonal and parallel spaces. And secondly, we're going to reopen the old parking lot at the Palo Alto Medical Foundation site and gain about 100 spaces there.
Glenn, what's the location of these parking garages and how many spaces are there going to be for all this demand?
There'll be two locations on current surface parking lots. There'll be a total of about 700 additional spaces beyond the 200 that are presently there. The first location will be on what's known as Lot R, which is located between Alma and High Street next to the Jungle Copy building and Blockbuster. And the second location will be on Emerson Street in the location of current Lot S and L that's next to the Senior Center. These will be multi-story parking garages. They have a very heavy architectural detailing. It's been said that these aren't really so much parking garages as they are buildings for cars. And that's at the direction of the City Council, who really wanted to integrate them into the downtown architectural design and have them look like office buildings rather than typical pancake stack structures.
Well, it's great that you've taken the aesthetics into account then. Have there been many problems in getting this through the system and through the past 10 years?
Well, yes, there have been quite a number of studies and quite a number of reviews and approvals along the way. It's gone through 3 redesigns before everyone was satisfied with the final architectural project, but I think it's well worthwhile. I think when people see the product, they'll really like it.
So the good news here is that that the demand is there. We've aggressively looked at that demand to try to come to people's expectations, and it's gone through a lot of approval process. So it looks like there will be good acceptance of it when it's done.
Absolutely. I think the merchants will be happy and the public will be happy, as will the visitors who will now be able to find a place to park.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Thanks so much, Glenn.
Thanks for joining us today. Next month, look for an expanded City Beat. For Police Beat, I'm Jim Coffman.